Time is the greatest equalizer because no matter who you are, where you live, or what your background looks like, each of us is given the same 24 hours in a day. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire CEO, a struggling student, or someone chasing a dream. Everyone wakes up with the same amount of time to spend. That reality alone is both humbling and empowering. It means the difference between those who rise to incredible levels of success and those who remain stuck is not in the number of hours they have, but in the choices they make with those hours. Too often people look at successful individuals and assume they must have some unfair advantage, that they were given more resources, more opportunities, or more connections. But what most people overlook is that they simply learned how to use their time more wisely than others. They turned each moment into a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. And they treated time as the most valuable asset in their possession. If you think about it, money can be lost and earned again. Possessions can be replaced. But once an hour passes, it is gone forever. That's why treating time with intention is what separates those who live with purpose from those who simply drift through life hoping things will change. When you recognize time as the greatest equalizer, you begin to look at your daily choices differently. Every morning presents you with a set of decisions, and every one of them carries weight. Do you spend the first hour of your day scrolling through your phone? Or do you spend it preparing your mind and body for the opportunities ahead? Do you choose to invest your evenings in mindless entertainment? Or do you dedicate that time to developing a skill that can alter your future? These small, seemingly insignificant decisions compound over days, weeks, months, and years, and eventually shape the entire direction of your life. The successful person is not always the most talented, not always the most intelligent, but they are often the one who was most disciplined with their time. They made sacrifices in the short term, cutting out distractions that others embraced so they could reap the rewards in the long term. Time is also the great equalizer because it humbles every person. It doesn't matter how wealthy, powerful, or connected someone is, they cannot buy more hours in the day. They cannot add extra time to their lifespan simply because of who they are. Each day the clock resets and every person is back on the same playing field with the same 24 hours to either waste or wisely use. That realization is liberating because it means you don't need to envy those who appear to be far ahead. You have the same hours they do, and by changing the way you value and use your time, you can begin to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It also means that excuses about lack of opportunity lose their power. Because while you may not control your environment or circumstances, you always control how you use your time within them. Think about the people you admire most, whether they are leaders, innovators, or visionaries. What you'll often find is that they treated their time with a sense of urgency and respect. They didn't allow procrastination to steal their potential. They understood that time was a currency more valuable than money because while money can multiply, time can only be spent once. This understanding led them to carefully design their days, to focus on priorities rather than distractions, and to constantly evaluate whether their activities aligned with their bigger vision. By doing so, they transformed ordinary hours into extraordinary results. Time, when respected and used with intention, becomes the silent partner in success, the invisible force that carries you forward when others are left behind. Most people confuse being busy with being productive, and this misunderstanding is one of the biggest reasons why so many never reach the level of success they desire. Business creates the illusion of progress, but productivity creates actual results. It is easy to fill a day with activities, running from one task to the next, checking off endless to-do lists, and feeling exhausted by the end of the night. Yet when you stop to evaluate, you realize much of that energy was spent on things that didn't move you closer to your goals. Success requires a shift in mindset where you stop glorifying business and start measuring effectiveness. Productivity isn't about how much you do. It's about whether what you are doing actually matters. The key is to identify the difference between urgent distractions and meaningful priorities, and then structure your life in a way that the majority of your energy flows toward the things that yield the greatest return. Imagine two people who both work hard from morning to night. One fills the day answering emails, attending unnecessary meetings, doing favors for others, and reacting to every interruption that comes up. The other carefully chooses 3 main priorities for the day, dedicates focused time to them, and minimizes distractions along the way. At the end of the week, the first person feels drained, but has little to show for the hours invested. The second person, however, has made measurable progress toward meaningful goals. The difference isn't effort, it's focus. Too often people wear business like a badge of honor, as if being constantly occupied validates their worth. But if your business doesn't lead you to tangible growth, you're not productive, you're just distracted. True productivity is about creating impact, not motion. To master this, you need clarity about your goals. Without clarity, every task feels equally important, and you end up drowning in the urgent but unimportant. Successful people operate differently because they know exactly what they want, and that clarity helps them filter out distractions. When you know your destination, you don't waste time wandering down roads that don't lead you there. This is why writing down your goals and revisiting them regularly is crucial. It sharpens your focus and ensures that your daily activities align with your bigger vision. Once you see clearly where you want to go, you can identify which actions truly matter and which are just noise. This is where productivity begins, by giving your best hours to the things that create lasting change in your life. Another key part of being productive rather than busy is learning to say no. Every request, every invitation, every shiny opportunity has a cost, and that cost is your time. People who confuse business with productivity often say yes to everything, filling their calendars with commitments that don't serve their long-term vision. Those who understand the value of productivity are ruthless about protecting their time. They decline distractions, delegate where possible, and only commit to what matters. Saying no may feel uncomfortable at first, but it is a powerful act of self-respect. Every no to something unimportant is a yes to something that will bring you closer to success. Finally, productivity thrives on intentionality. It's about designing your day, not drifting through it. It means structuring your mornings with purpose, setting blocks of uninterrupted focus time, and reviewing your progress regularly. Productivity is not about squeezing more into your schedule, but about removing what doesn't belong there. It is about asking yourself each day, is this the best use of my time right now? That single question can transform your approach to work and life because it forces you to distinguish between being occupied and being effective. When you align your time with what truly matters, you break free from the trap of business and step into the power of productivity. And that shift creates the foundation for long-term success. And be honest with yourself and think about how much time you spend on distractions that don't add any real value to your life. Hours can disappear while scrolling through social media, watching videos that entertain, but don't educate, or engaging in endless conversations that go nowhere. These activities may feel harmless in the moment, but they are silent thieves of your future. Every minute spent on them is a minute taken away from building the skills, the relationships, and the opportunities that could transform your life. The hidden cost of distractions is not just the time wasted, it's the potential you give up when you could have been moving closer to your goals. Success requires the awareness to identify these time killers and the discipline to eliminate them before they consume too much of your life. Distractions are dangerous because they disguise themselves as relaxation, as harmless fun, or even as productivity. Checking your email every 5 minutes might feel like work, but it actually prevents you from focusing deeply on meaningful tasks. Watching a show might feel like a way to recharge, but when one episode turns into an entire evening, it robs you of hours you'll never get back. The most dangerous part of distractions is how they compound over time. A half hour wasted here and an hour wasted there may not feel like much, but repeated daily, it adds up to entire weeks and months of lost opportunity each year. Imagine what could happen if those hours were redirected into reading books that grow your knowledge, practicing skills that advance your career, or working on a side project that could change your future. The difference between success and mediocrity often lies in how you handle these seemingly small choices. The truth is, most people know they are wasting time, but they underestimate the cost. They tell themselves it's just a little break, just one more video, just a few minutes on the phone. What they don't realize is that these small distractions steal their focus and momentum, making it harder to return to meaningful work. Every time you switch from a distraction back to a task, your brain takes time to readjust, and that constant switching drains your energy. Over time, it conditions your mind to crave shallow entertainment rather than deep, focused effort. That is why so many people struggle to make progress on their goals. They've trained themselves to choose distraction over discipline without even realizing it. Eliminating time killers requires intentionality. The first step is awareness. Track how you spend your time for a few days, and you'll be surprised at how many minutes vanish into unproductive activities. Once you see the patterns, you can make conscious choices to replace them with something better. If social media is your weakness, set limits or remove the apps from your phone. If television consumes your evenings, replace 1 hour with reading or working on a personal project. If constant interruptions from people steal your focus, create boundaries and communicate your priorities clearly. Success doesn't require eliminating all leisure, but it does require controlling it so that it doesn't control you. Entertainment can refresh you, but it should never dominate your life. When you cut out distractions, you gain something far more valuable than time. You gain clarity and focus. Without distractions pulling at your attention, you can give your best energy to the tasks that matter most. You experience the satisfaction of making progress instead of the frustration of wasted potential. Over time, the hours you reclaim from distractions become the building blocks of your success. The truth is, everyone faces distractions, but not everyone allows them to win. Those who rise above them are the ones who take control of their time, guard it fiercely, and channel it into actions that create lasting results. Successful people treat time like an investment rather than an expense. And that is one of the most powerful distinctions you can make if you want to create a meaningful future. Every choice you make about how to use your time is like placing money into a certain type of account. You can put it into things that depreciate quickly, like endless entertainment or gossip, which offer no long-term return, or you can invest it into learning, growth, and meaningful work that multiplies over time. The compound effect of how you spend your hours is what builds either success or regret. One book read today may not change your life overnight, but when you read a book every month for years, your knowledge compounds. 1 hour practicing a new skill may not seem like much in the moment, but repeated consistently, it builds expertise that others will pay for. Investing time in growth is about understanding that every small, intentional choice accumulates into something far greater than the moment you spent. People who fail to value time often think they can wait until later to start investing in growth. They say they'll begin when they have more free time, when life is less stressful, or when opportunities appear. The truth is, those opportunities never arrive if you don't create them. The people who rise to success are not the ones who waited for the perfect time, but the ones who took the imperfect hours they had and turned them into stepping stones. They studied while others were distracted. They practiced when others were resting, and they sought out mentors while others were wasting time with peers who had no vision. They understood that investing time wisely is not always glamorous, and it often requires sacrifice in the moment, but the return is immeasurable. While others watched their time slip away, they built knowledge, skills, and networks that later opened doors nobody else could walk through. The most powerful way to invest your time is by focusing on personal growth. Skills are the currency of the future, and the more you learn, the more valuable you become. Spend time reading books that stretch your perspective, listening to podcasts that challenge your thinking, or enrolling in courses that sharpen your abilities. Even 1 hour a day dedicated to personal development adds up to hundreds of hours over a year, enough to transform your mindset, your confidence, and your opportunities. Growth doesn't just expand what you know, it expands who you are. And when you grow as a person, every area of your life benefits. Relationships improve, confidence rises, and your ability to seize opportunities multiplies. Another way to invest your time is by surrounding yourself with people who inspire and challenge you. The hours you spend with others shape your future more than you realize. If you spend your time around people who complain, gossip, and waste their days, it will be difficult to rise above that environment. But if you choose to spend time with those who are ambitious, disciplined, and forward thinking, their habits and mindsets will rub off on you. Time invested in meaningful conversations, mentorship, and collaboration often leads to breakthroughs you could never achieve alone. Relationships are one of the most powerful investments of time because they create networks of support, opportunity, and accountability that accelerate success. Investing time also means being intentional with the projects and work you pursue. Instead of chasing every opportunity, focus on activities that align with your long-term goals. Working on something meaningful may not give you instant gratification, but it builds momentum for the future. A business doesn't grow in a day, a career isn't built in a week, and personal mastery doesn't happen overnight. They all require consistent investment of time over years. This is why those who achieve greatness are often the ones who simply refuse to waste their hours on fleeting pleasures. They put their time into endeavors that paid dividends later, even when nobody was watching, and those dividends eventually became the foundation of their success. The difference between spending time and investing time is simple. Spending leaves you with nothing, but investing multiplies into more. Every moment you choose to use wisely becomes a seed planted in the soil of your future. The harvest may not come immediately, but with patience and consistency, it always comes. Time invested in growth compounds silently, and one day the results become visible for all to see. This is why treating every hour as an opportunity to invest rather than squander is one of the most life-changing decisions. You can make your habits shape the structure of your days, and the structure of your days eventually shapes the outcome of your life. Routines may seem simple, even boring to some, but they are the invisible framework behind every great success story. When you wake up each morning without a plan, you leave your time vulnerable to distractions, interruptions, and unproductive choices. But when you create intentional routines, you set the tone for focus, energy, and direction. A solid routine doesn't just help you manage your time, it transforms the quality of your time. The small decisions you automate every day remove the mental clutter of constant choice, freeing your mind to concentrate on the things that matter most. It's not about rigid control, but about designing a rhythm that consistently pushes you closer to your goals. A morning routine is one of the most powerful tools for success because it sets the momentum for your entire day. If you start the day with chaos, rushing out of bed, checking notifications, or reacting to problems, you carry that scattered energy into everything else. But if you start your morning with intention, through exercise, reading, journaling, or meditation, you create clarity, focus, and discipline before the world demands anything from you. Even dedicating the first 30 minutes of your day to personal growth can shift your mindset and give you an edge over others who waste that time on distractions. Those quiet, focused hours are often when breakthroughs happen because your mind is fresh and undistracted. Over time, a morning routine becomes a ritual of preparation, equipping you daily to face challenges with strength and purpose. Just as important is your work routine. Productivity doesn't come from working endlessly. It comes from working with focus and structure. When you have a set routine for tackling your most important tasks, you reduce the mental fatigue of decision making and protect yourself from procrastination. Many successful people follow the principle of doing their hardest or most important work early in the day when their energy is highest. By creating blocks of uninterrupted, focused time and eliminating distractions, you produce results that scattered effort could never achieve. Your work routine becomes a system that ensures progress even on days when motivation feels low. Instead of relying on willpower alone, you rely on the power of habit. And that consistency compounds over time into remarkable achievements. An evening routine is equally essential because it closes the loop of your day and prepares you for the next one. Ending your day with reflection, gratitude, or planning sets you up to wake with clarity instead of confusion. Many people carry stress from the day into their nights, scrolling through their phones or distracting themselves until exhaustion takes over. But those who value their time use evenings as an opportunity to reset. They review what they accomplished, plan their priorities for tomorrow, and give their mind space to rest. By winding down intentionally, you improve the quality of your sleep, which fuels productivity and creativity the next day. Success is not built only in the hours of action, but also in the hours of recovery. And a strong evening routine ensures that your body and mind remain sharp. Over the long run, routines may not feel exciting, but they create stability, and stability creates freedom. When you don't have to waste energy deciding what to do next, you can pour that energy into the actions that truly matter. Think of routines as the rails that guide a train. Without them, you may wander aimlessly, but with them, you stay on track and move steadily toward your destination. The small daily choices, waking up early, exercising, reading, planning, may seem insignificant in isolation, but repeated day after day, they build momentum. The compounding effect of these habits is what turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Discipline eventually becomes second nature, and what once felt like effort becomes effortless. This is the true power of routines. They shape not just your day, but your identity. You no longer just do productive things. You become a productive person. You no longer just practice discipline. You become disciplined. Over time, the routines you commit to become the invisible architecture of your success, carrying you forward, whether you feel motivated or not. Time well spent doesn't mean filling every moment with nonstop work, because true success requires balance between effort and renewal. Too many people make the mistake of believing that hustling 24/7 is the ultimate key to achievement. But what they don't realize is that burnout is one of the biggest time wasters of all. When your body is exhausted and your mind is drained, even the simplest task takes longer, and the quality of your work suffers. Rest is not wasted time. It is a strategic investment. Just as athletes build recovery days into their training because they know muscles grow during rest, not during exertion, people pursuing success must also understand that rest is where focus, creativity, and resilience are replenished. Without it, the hours you spend working will never deliver the results you want. Balance doesn't mean working less. It means working smarter. It means learning to listen to your body and mind when they are signaling that you need to recharge. Sleep, for example, is one of the most underrated factors in productivity. When you cut corners on rest, you don't actually gain more time, you lose it. A tired mind takes longer to solve problems, makes more mistakes, and loses the ability to concentrate deeply. On the other hand, a well-rested mind can accomplish in one focused hour what a fatigued mind would take 3 or 4 hours to do. That difference compounds over weeks and months, which is why people who prioritize proper rest often achieve more in less time. They respect the role recovery plays in sustaining long-term success. Reflection is another crucial form of renewal that many people ignore. It's not enough to simply work hard. You must also evaluate whether the way you are working is moving you closer to your goals. Taking time to pause, step back, and ask yourself what's working and what isn't prevents you from running fast in the wrong direction. Reflection sharpens your strategy, helps you correct mistakes quickly, and ensures that your energy is aligned with your vision. This is why some of the most successful individuals dedicate time each week to review their progress, adjust their plans, and learn from their experiences. They understand that reflection multiplies the value of their efforts because it prevents wasted motion and maximizes learning. Recovery also involves engaging in activities that refresh your spirit. Exercise, hobbies, time in nature, or simply quiet moments away from constant noise all serve to restore your energy. These are not indulgences, but fuel for your journey. When you give yourself permission to rest and enjoy life outside of work, you return to your tasks with renewed motivation and creativity. Some of the best ideas and breakthroughs don't come while sitting at a desk, but during moments of relaxation when your mind is free to wander. By incorporating renewal into your schedule, you unlock a deeper level of focus and inspiration when it's time to perform. Another aspect of balance is maintaining strong relationships. Success feels empty if it costs you your family, friendships, or health. Time invested in people you love is never wasted because those relationships provide emotional strength during challenges and joy during victories. Neglecting them in the pursuit of goals can create regret that no amount of achievement can erase. Spending quality time with others not only strengthens bonds, but also gives you perspective, reminding you of what truly matters beyond material accomplishments. Balance means you don't sacrifice the most valuable parts of life in the name of chasing success, but instead integrate them into a lifestyle that sustains both achievement and fulfillment. The wisest use of time blends hard work, growth, and rest into a cycle that sustains itself. You push forward with intensity when it's time to work, and you pull back to recharge when your body and mind need it. This cycle allows you to operate at your highest capacity consistently instead of burning out in short bursts. Success is not about how many hours you can grind without stopping, but about how effectively you can use your energy over the long haul. When you learn to value rest and recovery as much as action and progress, you discover that balance is not a limitation, but a powerful amplifier of productivity. It ensures that your pursuit of success is not just fast, but also sustainable, meaningful, and deeply rewarding.